Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Library Reading Room here in the European Parliament. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all and to continue a series of dialogues and discussions that we've been putting together with major international economic organizations, in this case the International Monetary Fund, focused on their European Regional Outlook, which has recently been published, in the context of an uncertain and turbulent global economic backdrop. I'm Anthony Teasdale from the European Parliamentary Research Service, and it's a great pleasure for us to host events of this kind. As we're slightly late in starting, I'm not going to give a huge introduction, other than to say that for us in the Research Service, and more generally in the European Parliament, not least its committees, the kind of interaction which we're building with organizations like the International Monetary Fund is extremely important from the point of view of ensuring that we have the most accurate, up-to-date, and comprehensive analytical understanding of developments in the world economy. That's hugely important to us in the Research Service in terms of the work that we do. We're putting together at the moment, for example, the economic and budgetary outlook for the European Union for the coming year. And in many of our other publications, this type of foresight and insight is critically important. But it's also important to use this type of event to have an open and genuine discussion with experts about the direction of travel of the European economy and the global economy more widely. And in that context, it's a great pleasure to welcome the Director of the European Department at the International Monetary Fund, Paul Thompson, who is doing a roadshow across Europe on this publication, Regional Economic Outlook for Europe, Facing Spillovers from Trade and Manufacturing. It tries to get into the detail of what is actually happening right now in the European economy and its prospects for the coming year. I'll introduce the other panelists that we have shortly, but to kick things off, I'd like to ask the Vice President of the European Parliament with responsibility in this field, Othmar, if he would like to say a few scene-setting remarks. He's been a member of the European Parliament since 1999. He's Vice President responsible inter alia for information policy, press relations, the Members' Research Service and Library here within EPRS, relations with NATO, OSCE, World Bank and IMF, and he's a member of the Economic and Monetary Committee. He's a substitute member of the Industry, Research and Energy Committee, and also of Constitutional Affairs, and he's a member of the Delegation for Relations with the United States. So that really puts him at the heart of the big economic relationships. He's also a non-regular lecturer at Danube University Krems and the Vienna University for Economics and Business, and also the University of Vienna. So without further ado, I'd like to ask Othmar if he would set the scene for the outlook for the European economy. Thank you very much.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear members of the European Parliament, dear colleagues, dear friends of the European Parliament, dear Mr. Teasdale, thank you very much for organizing this meeting, and I warmly welcome to all of you. I am very happy that you are all here at this premiere in the European Parliament and in the Bibliothek of the European Parliament. I welcome again the Governor of the National Bank of Austria, Robert Holzmann, the Director of the European Department of the IMF, Paul Thompson, and Maria de Merzis, leading economic analyst in Brussels and Deputy Director of the think tank Bruegel, who will together discuss on the short and medium-term future of the European economy. I take a special interest in this topic as a Vice President responsible for relations with the IMF and as Vice President responsible for the European Parliamentary Research Service and as a long-serving member of the Economic and Monetary Affairs Committee. And I am especially happy because this is the first time that a major international institution will launch one of its major publications here at the heart of the European Parliamentary Research Service. I am sure that this will take place. The already excellent relations between the IMF and the EPRS even to a higher level, and I think we have to continue this cooperation and we have to enlarge this cooperation with international organizations and with the research services on national and global level, and also to cooperate stronger than in the past also with the different think tanks. Also, I am very pleased that Governor Holzmann is here. It's his first time in his new position as governor of the Austrian National Bank. We already had a fruitful meeting today about the future of the ECB policy and the challenges of cryptocurrencies such as Libra and of the future of the European payment system. However, without anticipating what Director Thompson will tell us, I feel that the news might not be as good as we have hoped. Last month, with some of you, I was in Washington at the IMF and World Bank annual meeting, and I followed its global economic outlook. The picture was not very optimistic on the one hand, but on the other hand, optimistic. Because I think we all know what we have to do. And we know that the global challenges are our common challenges. And everybody, each of us, we can play our role. And the European Union must be more united in the future as in the past and today, if we can achieve all our common goals. The trade conflict between China and the US is likely to cut global economic growth to its lowest pace since the financial crisis in 2008. The outlook could darken if those tensions remain unresolved. What is more, the trade conflicts lower productivity by disrupting supply chains, cause turmoil on financial markets, and reduce investment due to uncertainty. Foreign direct investment abroad by advanced economies came almost to a standstill. In Europe, apart from increasingly lower demand from China, Brexit is already starting to conflict the march to our economies. But on the other hand, we are looking forward about sustainable finance, we are looking forward about the so-called Green Deal, and we are looking forward to more public and private investment to solve our common problems. So now where are we in Europe? Also, the situation is certainly not without clouds. We are much stronger and more resilient than in the wake of the financial crisis. Our economy has grown for 7 consecutive years, creating 14 million new jobs. The Juncker investment plan has already mobilized 440 billion euros of investment to benefit 1 million SMEs. We have strengthened our financial system by launching the projects of the Banking and the Capital Markets Union. We have created mechanisms to curb borrowing that leads to wasteful investments. And we have adopted measures leading to more growth while ensuring social protection. But a lot of homework remains to be done. At the annual meeting of the IMF, I was being asked from all sides, what are the answer of the European continent to climate change, to the Africa policy, to digitization, to trade conflicts, fair taxation, demographic change, hunger, terrorism, and social inequalities. Why are the banking, capital markets, and economic and monetary union not yet complete? Why do member states block the ability of the EU to act? Why France voted against to start the negotiation with North Macedonia and Albania? Today, the EU accounts for 23% of world GDP. If Brexit happens, 19%. And until 2030, it is predicted to account for only 15%. Europe's share of world population is now 7%, and until 2050, it will be under 4%. Last year, the worldwide investments into new financial technologies stood at 27 billion euros, the majority of which was in the US and China. In Europe, we doubled our share last year, but we still stand at only 4.6 billion euros. For Europe to address these various global challenges and shifts in power, we need to understand them as opportunity, not as danger. We need to reap fruits on the digital revolution and climate change. Economic growth, ecological and social responsibility are two sides of the same coin. A green economy is an opportunity, not a burden for growth. But we need a common definition. What do you understand when you speak about sustainable finance? What is the definition in Europe and globally when we speak about a Green Deal? What is a green investment? What is a sustainable or an economic risk in the future? There are also signs of optimism in a wider sense. The turnout at the recent European elections increased to over 50%, the highest level in the last 25 years. In the European Parliament, there continues to be a vast majority of political forces that wish to cooperate constructively on a common Europe. Citizens issued a call for a greener world, for safeguarding the rule of law, and for effective and transparent decision-making. We must not let them down. Therefore, I welcome that the President-elect of the European Commission, Ms. Ursula von der Leyen, has chosen many just priorities. We keenly await the details on the Green Deal, as well as her initiatives on digitization and an economy that works for the people. This ambitious program needs to be matched by appropriate funding. Hence, the European Parliament calls for more expenditure in areas such as youth policy, research, innovation, Erasmus+, and the fight against climate change. At the same time, we need more cooperation and awareness to be able to do what is necessary and what is right. Therefore, in my other role as Vice President for Information Policy, Press and Citizen Relation, including the information offices in the Member States, I strive to organize seminars in various offices with the participation of representatives from international organizations, in particular from the IMF and World Bank. These seminars should contribute to create the awareness that it is necessary for successfully addressing the various global challenges as opportunities for the European Union. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to reiterate that in these turbulent times, the European Union will continue to be a positive force for change on the global stage. Our partners across the world can count on us to defend the multilateral rules-based global order. To be effective in this task, we must integrate further and speak with one voice, as our economic weight is set to diminish. Assessments, such as those to be presented now by the IMF, will greatly help us to diagnose our ills, seek better remedies. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you a very fruitful and interesting afternoon, and I hope you will come back and to help us to continue and enlarge our work. Your experience, your documents are very helpful for a more efficient European legislation work in the European Parliament. Welcome in the Chamber of the Citizens of Europe. Thank you very much.